Hello everyone, my name is Blue, for those of you who don't know. Today we're going to go over the Paladins tutorial, and we're going to kind of figure out what's wrong with it, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing about that. For those of you who don't know, I am an AOC delegate. That means I'm part of the Assembly of Champions. I was elected by the community to be one of those people that kind of bridges the gap between the development of the game and the people that play the game. I was also a longtime player in the Paladins console series. That is now gone, and we have the Paladins console league, which I do not play in, but I do keep track of the stats, and I am an analyst for it. I run the website consolecorner.co, and you guys can check all of that out at Console Pro News on Twitter. I'll have the links in the description below. Another quick fact about me is I was the coach for Onslaught's Xbox team during the PCS in the spring phase of, or the summer phase of 2018, where they went 12-0 and we ended up winning the championship. So yeah, I've been playing the game for over 2 years now, and I'm trying to find as many ways as possible to help some people. I know newer players get a lot of slander because the tutorial may not teach them what they need to know. So this is kind of what we're going to be doing, is helping them. And another thing is, there's a lot of players who come to me and they want to learn how to play the game competitively at the highest level, and there's not many outlets for them to go to. I know most of the people on YouTube are just doing videos of cool loadouts that they have for their characters and gameplay and videos like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive deeper into it. So this first one, we're going to be going over the tutorial, what's wrong with it, and that will lead into the videos that we're going to be doing here in the future. We're going to be talking about items in the game, loadouts, different champions. We're going to talk about how to play your roles correctly, and there's different sub roles within the main roles. So one of the main roles is you have front lines, which are your tanks. But within that front line or tank role, you have off tanks, you have main tanks. You have supports, which are your healers, and you have main supports, and you have side supports or off supports, off heals, side heals, main heals, and so on. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is the tutorial. I did go through it myself to get this, and we're just going to kind of give our little feedback here while we play. So it does say learn the basics of Paladins, and let me just give you the idea right now. This is the basics, as in the most basic of basics. So it's basically it's telling me how to move forward and backwards as if I've never done that in any other video game in my life. So right away in this, no help to me. Left to right, again, like I've never moved in a video game on console before. Same thing with PC if you play PC. So now we're going to follow Ying here to this circle, and we're going to stand in this circle. Now
First, let me walk through some information on your screen.
Okay.
You will find your health displayed on your screen. If your health reaches 0, you die.
Okay, so if your health reaches 0, you die. Well, that's never happened to me in any other video game, so thank you for explaining that to me. Thank you for teaching me that. So it kind of doesn't explain, what this is. Doesn't explain what it does. Explain the health bar, and that if it goes to 0, you die. But it doesn't explain the UI right here. It doesn't explain that this is you. This is your health bar. This is your ultimate charge. This is your teammate. This is their health bar, and this is their ultimate charge. It doesn't explain to you. It doesn't show you the abilities. It will here in a second. And it doesn't explain, that your ultimate is in the middle. It doesn't explain to you that you have 2 abilities, one on each end, and then you have your primary and your secondary fire. So it doesn't explain any of that to you.
Avoid combat for a short period of time. Your health will start to regenerate.
Okay, so it does tell you if you avoid combat for a short period of time, your health will start to regenerate. It doesn't really explain that avoiding combat is not only not getting shot at, but also not shooting yourself. Not shooting your own weapon.
Your primary weapon is your assault rifle. Ying will create one.
Okay, now we're getting into the UI here at the bottom.
No problem.
Well done. Ying will now create a few more illusions for you to destroy.
Okay, we learned how to shoot.
Note the red outline around the illusions.
Red outline
This means they are enemies.
means it's an enemy. Okay.
Excellent. Now, let's go over your abilities. Your first ability allows you to throw a frag grenade. Now, launch your frag grenade to hit all targets in the area. Well done. Note that you will have to wait a short time before using that ability again. Your next ability is...
Okay, so it does explain how the ability works. So you throw the grenade, it blows up just like a grenade. That's simple. It does explain that there is a cooldown on your ability, so that's good. But it doesn't explain the different ways to use this ability. So you saw I just threw the grenade. I pushed the button and it threw the grenade. You can essentially cook frag grenades in basically any video game, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and this game as well. So you can hold down that button to hold that grenade in your hand and then throw it with a delay so that it blows up quicker after it leaves your hand. It's still the same timer internally for the explosion, but if you hold it in your hand and then throw it, there's a shorter amount of time for the enemy to get out of that blast radius. So they don't really explain that you could use that differently. So quick thing to note here that I did on purpose while going through this tutorial is that if you look at my ammo count right here in the middle of the screen, it says I have 5 bullets remaining in my clip of the possible 30. I didn't reload at all unless the game forced me to reload when I had 0 ammo. And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to know if the game would teach me. It taught me how to move left and right, forward and backwards. So I wanted to see if it would teach me how to reload my weapon. Spoiler alert, it did not the entire time.
Hustle. Move forward, then activate Hustle to move even faster. Excellent. Follow Ying to the next area.
Follow me.
Okay, so it's not explaining that Hustle does not have a cooldown.
Nice. Your next ability is Iron Sights. Hold.
Okay, so now we're going into our next ability, which is our Iron Sights with Victor. And again, I still have not reloaded my gun manually.
Down Iron Sights to aim down the sights of your weapon. Using Iron Sights is a great way to target enemies farther away.
I'm doing the burst manually.
Nice shooting. Now,
Again, didn't reload the gun manually. I waited for the game to say, okay, it needs to reload.
Is your most powerful ability and can turn a fight in your favor. You must fully charge your ultimate ability before you can use it. You charge your ultimate by dealing damage to enemy players. When Barrage is active, aim in the direction of an enemy and fire to trigger a blast.
Okay, so we're going to activate our ultimate here.
Well done. The next area is a bit further, so we'll need to travel far.
Okay, it did say that you gain ultimate charge from dealing damage to an enemy. I don't think that is good. You cannot tell people that because the main reason is because this tutorial is only being played with Victor, who is a damage champion. So yes, doing damage with Victor will allow you to gain your ultimate or gain charge towards your ultimate. But you don't play the tutorial with support champions. So it kind of instills this mentality where you have to do damage to gain your ultimate. And thus, you know, if someone has to play a support, they think that doing damage will give them more ultimate charge as a support than actually healing and playing their role properly. Okay, now we're on a horse. It doesn't really explain why we're on a horse. It just says, oh, this next point is far away, so here's a horse. It doesn't really explain to you that, hey, when you leave your spawn in a game, you are on a horse. Once you dismount from your horse, you can no longer be on your horse until you die and you have to come back from spawn again. So it doesn't explain that. This was also made a long time ago when you could remount your horse.
When you encounter certain obstacles, you can head to the...
Okay, so my bindings is different. The normal one would be X to jump. So it teaches you how to jump.
Objective now.
Okay, so now...
Objectives are marked by a pedestal on the ground. While you are within the area, you make progress towards capturing the objective for your team. Current capture progress is displayed on your screen. Watch out.
Okay, so quickly, right away, this Androxus character has just come from the bushes where he was hidden. Those bushes do not exist in this game anymore, so that is something that is misleading because those aren't in the game anymore, so we will never see someone hiding in the bush.
An enemy is trying to contest the objective. When champions from both teams are on the objective, neither team will gain capture progress.
Okay, so it does explain how capturing the point works.
Well done. Once an objective has been captured, your team will earn points in a payload.
Okay, so it says your team will earn points and a payload cart will spawn. I think it needs to explain that you gain 1 point from capturing the objective. You gain another point if you successfully push the payload to the end point towards the enemy's base. It also needs to explain that you gain 1 point from successfully defending against an offensive payload push. And it also needs to explain that the score is to 4 in a siege match. And it also needs to explain that you cannot win on a defense. So, you know, if you have 3 points and you defend, you cannot win that way. You have to capture the point to win. So that is another thing that is missing, and it needs to be explained.
Cart will spawn. Your team must escort the payload cart to the enemy base to earn additional points towards winning the game.
It just says additional points.
Only progress towards the enemy base when you are standing near it. Enemy players can hold the... Excellent.
Again, I'm not reloading my gun manually because it hasn't taught me how.
Continue pushing the payload. Excellent. Well done. You have completed your basic combat training.
That was pretty basic. Pretty basic. So basically what we're going to be doing is, talking about how this could be improved. We're also going to just teach you the fundamentals as well. That was the basics, and it's clearly the basics. How to move around, how to fire a weapon, and how to use 2 abilities for 1 champion. So I'm going to, along with the Console Corner team, we're going to create these tutorials that are kind of more informational towards new players and moderate players, for players looking to get into the competitive scene as well. And we're going to dive deeper into things that could potentially help tier 3, tier 2, maybe even tier 1, depending on how you look at it. So we'll be talking about items that are in the game, loadouts, different champions, different roles, different sub roles within those main roles, and whatever else you guys want. I will put in the description below the link to the tweet where I asked, what do you think is the most important thing to have in a tutorial for Paladins? And you guys can go ahead, click on that, and leave your comments on there as well. So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and look out for some more Paladins tutorials by Blue.